Why would my children be trying to talk her into leaving me unless she was telling them that she was in a loveless marriage?
That
Who
and
said to you, why are you
it doesn't
just...
matter.
Thing is, she never said that to me. And I never was like, you should leave dad. I was just always like, I don't like my dad. I don't like that you are with a guy that I don't like.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. Please subscribe and give this episode a thumbs up. It seems that there's still more to learn about sister wives. Kody Brown and his former wife, Christine Brown's daughter, Gwen Brown, is now speaking out about what it was like to be raised before the cameras. Gwen talked about her experiences on the show with her big family as well as other reality celebrity kids. She also admitted that when she was a kid she was totally into the filming process of the show, but that changed a little bit as she got older. Also, the show is reportedly ending if the rumors can be believed. Sister Wives actress Gwen Brown asserts that children were not paid for appearing on the reality television show. Gwen spoke with Teen Vogue, "We just got thrust into fame and thrust into money and I stopped needing and wanting things." She hypothesized that the show sent her family from a poverty status into which they began the series. "When a child is not hungry, life is so much easier," she added. Originally, it was truly a blessing. Although the show is on its 19th season and increasing popularity, Gwen mentioned that she and her 17 siblings weren't directly compensated for their participation. She mentioned that the parents were the only ones compensated by the network. "We weren't compensated, but I don't know if they anticipated paying the parents to compensate us children." As per Gwenlyn, her mom Christine made the decision to pay her kids. While Gwenlyn does not know her precise earnings over the years, she said it absolutely wasn't an equal share. TLC was also reached out to by the publication. Payment is managed in line with contractual obligations and application labor laws and regulations. They claim Christine, who has remarried David Woolley following her divorce from Kody in 2021, disclosed that money is set aside for children's college education and vehicles. She confirmed that Gwenlyn and her brothers were not paid. Her memoir, which shall come out in September, may also shed more light. When it comes to Gwenlyn, she thinks differently about reality television. "I'm growing less and less enthusiastic about it. I used to believe that this is my normal," she said. "Now, however, it's odd to realize that this does not necessarily have to be my normal." Sister Wives brought her family out of poverty, but Gwenlyn Brown explained to Teen Vogue that she wasn't compensated to shoot initially. Gwenlyn Brown says that the time the Brown family started filming Sister Wives, the direction of their life changed for the better. With her father Kody Brown, his 4 wives and her 17 siblings, 23-year-old Gwen appeared on the TLC reality show. She is now looking back on her unconventional upbringing and the benefits and drawbacks of being raised in front of reality television cameras 15 years after cameras started rolling on their life as a polygamous Mormon family. Sister Wives enabled the Brown family to escape poverty, according to Gwenlyn Brown. Some of the reality TV celebrities' children, like Gwenlyn, recently shared their experiences of growing up and coming of age on camera in an interview with Teen Vogue. Sister Wives premiered in 2010. Gwenlyn, 8 years old at the time, initially enjoyed it that the crew of the movie was present in her family's life. "I was really into it as a child," she said. There were more tangible benefits to the family TLC show than merely cashing in on her rising fame. As a TV reality star to charm students at school, the Brown family was lifted out of a poverty context by taping Sister Wives. "It was the third wife," according to the daughter of Kody and Christine Brown, Gwenlyn. "We were catapulted into fame and money overnight," she said. "And I stopped wanting and needing things. A hungry child has a simpler life." Initially, it was a tremendous plus. Before they became well known on television and in tabloids, Kody and his wife were open about the family's financial struggles. In their 2012 book Becoming Sister Wives, Kody wrote, "Our biggest struggles have been financial." Christine Wells' mother agreed that money was very tight. "No matter how hard we worked, we never had enough money to pay the bills," said Kody's second wife, Janelle Brown. The Brown family's financial well-being was generally enhanced by Sister Wives' pay, but as Gwenlyn explained, none of that money went directly to the kids. "Only the parents were compensated by the network," she said. "We weren't compensated, but I'm not sure if they were hoping the parents would compensate us kids." Gwen explained that Christine later made the decision to give her kids a certain amount per day or half day of camera time. However, the money she's received during her years on the show certainly hasn't been a fair portion. Christine explained to a magazine that while the Brown children weren't originally paid directly, the family did manage to hold back money for them to buy cars and go to college. The long-running family documentary followed the life of a large family united by complex relationships and same ideals for many years. Only the kids who grew up under the microscope knew the more subdued, subtle reality that lay behind the smiles, stage scenes, and family gatherings that were telecast on television every week throughout the country. A young woman who is learning adulthood with the impact of her childhood on television is one of those children known to her followers for her clever banter, candor, and strong convictions. She has begun to open up about what it was actually like to grow up in the spotlight and be the focus of public attention. This daughter of a former multiple household spoke openly and reflectively in a recent article that included the views of other individuals who were raised on reality television. Her story, which is threaded through clarity and nostalgia, offers a unique window into the complexities of life behind the scenes. There was a time when I enjoyed the entire production, she explained, with the memories of early times tinged with nostalgia. The attention, the lights, and the camera crews were all new and exciting. It was like play acting to a child, an ongoing stage that gave meaning to everyday existence. She admitted that at first she was enchanted by it all, but as she grew older she became more aware of the costs. Her viewpoint shifted with the changing seasons and the increasingly complex family interactions. The novelty soon wore off. What had been like adventures began to feel obligatory. As the reality of growing up in a home under constant public scrutiny set in, an increased awareness of how much the cameras took and how little they gave back became apparent. When speaking of finances, she didn't mince words. She revealed in the interview that she and her other siblings were never paid for their appearances on the show. "We were just, only the adults get paid." She said their names, not the children's, were being used to sign contracts. The parents had ultimate control over what was done with that money. While she did confess that one parent did attempt to make certain financial benefits go to the kids, like school savings or help with car buys, she made it clear that this was the exception and not the rule. She thought about the implications on her sense of worth. Resentment built over time as a result of being a familiar face, but without financial independence from that fame. An industry that profited from her presence without giving a fair share back in return shortchanged her. She didn't hesitate to answer when asked how the experience affected her thoughts now. Once an exhilarating adventure, reality television now makes her uncomfortable. Things that seemed normal when I was a kid now seem strange. She indicated that she now deliberately distances herself from the life she once accepted without question when she added, "This doesn't have to be my normal." She is continuing to grapple with her connection to that past and isn't sure how it is going to continue to impact her. She acknowledges the show provided for her family during hard times early on in its run, and she still has gratitude for that. She said it allowed us to survive. Life is simpler when you are not concerned about your next meal. That gratitude, however, is tinged with criticism. She experienced childhood in the presence of cameras as an uneven one. Even though she earned little, she carried the weight of public life. Most young people who came of age on the reality television show are all too aware of this reality, and her willingness to speak out provides a much-needed voice for an increasing conversation. Viewers who appreciate her candor have applauded her for being real. Others, however, are committed to the family that she depicts on television and cannot explain the conflict between what they have seen and what she reveals. The matriarch of the family, now settled and with a new partner, confessed that her children were not paid out directly. She did, however, emphasize that there was planning in place financially in order to prepare children for adulthood. There might be more in the future. The mother's upcoming memoir promises to go deeper into the decisions made during the years of filming. It is unclear what it will uncover, but her daughter's readiness to speak up now is already changing the course of events. She aspires to create a space characterized by sincerity and independence as she works to establish a life away from reality TV. She has begun writing her own story, and this time the camera is hers rather than being a supporting character in someone else's. Her story is a reflection on family growth and the cost of fame, among other things. It reminds us that the public only gets to view a slice of the reality and that there are layers to each familiar face beyond what can be portrayed in a script. Gwenlyn's universe turned upside down in ways she could never have dreamed of the moment her family's existence was under scrutiny by television. Gwendolyn, a child who grew up in a family marked by the shared bonds of multiple living, developed into young adulthood with a camera team as a permanent witness. What began as an interesting curiosity soon became a complicated heritage of exposure, identity, and shifting values for her. Gwen was interested in the process when the filming team first approached their house. There was so much electricity in the air from the bright lights, microphones, and so many interviews. She was treated like royalty in the initial days because of the excitement of appearing on television. She would come to school wearing a new badge of honor and boast to her friends that she had appeared on TV with her family. Having the knowledge that the public was suddenly interested in their everyday life provided them a special excitement. But the financial stability of the family certainly altered along with the glamour of production. Before venturing into television narrative, daily living was tough, and every decision was hard. Luxuries were beyond their reach, and essentials were weighed down. But all this began to alter after the show started airing. Options became available. The fundamentals of childhood were more accessible. Bills were more manageable, and there was always food on the table. The shortage that once loomed over them was a welcome respite. Gwen slowly began to question the fairness of things behind the scenes, despite the new Finn-Annal breathing room. As a growing child, part of an ongoing saga, she wished that her involvement would one day be recognized in more tangible terms. But that was not so. The arrangements made with the network served the patriarchs and matriarchs of the family, but the children did not automatically benefit from those advantages. Gwenlyn never thought to question the agreement for many years. It was simply the reality of her childhood. But as she approached adulthood, the consequences became apparent. For her, shooting was a natural part of her childhood, not merely a background hum. Every triumph, argument, celebration, and screw-up was taped and broadcast for viewers to analyze. It came with a price. Since she was always aware that her life had an audience, she ended up living an intimate and performance life. Her mom finally took steps to reward the kids' labor. She started paying them a little money based on how much time they spent shooting.